And we are live once again. Welcome back, everybody. I am in the driver's seat again. I haven't seen y'all in a couple weeks. Welcome back to the Iodrarune Fables. Of course, this first part of the session, or first part of the stream, rather, is the Curse of Tirzol. It'll run for about 90 minutes or so. And then we will have a short break. And after the break will be the for hire session run by the illustrious Vice.
Oh, I thank you, darling.
And before we hop in, I also want to mention that this is, unfortunately, our final episode of the season. We will be taking the month of August off, or at least off of the campaigns, or the games. And we will be returning with new games, new players, new whatever in September. So this is a season finale for both games. All of that being said, who would like to recap the story so far for the Curse of Tirzol for some DM inspiration?
You know what? I might as well try to take a shot at it because I've been kind of thinking about it this past week. Regardless, um, I can't find our notes for the campaign, but I'll just go off of what I remember. So
Vibes, just vibes.
yeah, yeah. So since the last session or since the beginning?
I mean, if you can do since the beginning, I would appreciate that, but
Yeah.
you certainly don't
Well,
have
since I
to.
came in late, I'll kind of only recap where we're kind of since the beginning we were as far as I recall, you guys were recruited by an adventurers guild or something to check out the Curse of Tear Soul and try to see what was going on that island, and
That's the
sailed
gist of it,
took a
yeah.
ship. Yeah, took a ship,
Um,
sailed on to.
yeah, so each of them is an initiate for the Dragonhead Adventurers Guild. Um and their first assignment, so to speak, was to travel to Tirzol and figure out what the heck's going on and hopefully solve the problem.
Mhm.
Um they had a bit of a lengthy travel across the island, through some of the other towns and things, and caught a boat from Summit. On said boat was where we introduced you, and if you would like to recap from
Mhm.
there, go for it. Sorry, I
Yeah,
didn't want
so
to completely cut you off there. My bad.
yeah, so the party was is so the party basically sailed over to Tirsol, and along the way, two things happened. One, Cesario got into an encounter with this serpent creature who said that he was needed elsewhere, so he left with the serpent creature, jumping into a whirlpool and disappearing. And then Lishva turned out to be a stowaway on the ship, that being my character, who uh, who was investigating Tirsol for a different reason. And it turns out that we also got into a fight with like these skeleton creatures and these ghost creatures, and none of us really know what was up with that. But we defeated them and then managed to land on the island. We landed on the island and looked around a bit and found this other boat and some tracks leading out of it. So we decided to follow those tracks, and we came to this house, knocked on the door of said house, so we were invited into this lovely woman who offered us tea and everything, and a bit of conversation. We asked her some questions about what was going on this island, and there was this weird situation going on with the family photos where she didn't even remember that she had a family or whatever, and also didn't seem to know anything about like the Adventurers Guild has been under the impression that there was nobody else alive on Tier that it had been wiped out by a plague or something a long time ago. So the party was very surprised to hear that there were still people here, and the woman was very confused that the party would even think that there weren't people alive. Like, the town has always been alive. So this got the suspicion of the party, and they decided to head toward the town to see what was up. Passing through the cemetery on the way there, and realizing that this cemetery that they passed through was quite old, so therefore tipping off the possibility that has it been a while since somebody died here? And then they got to the town, and we found an inn to stay at for the night, and as I recall, that is where we left off.
Yeah, that's great.
Mhm.
All right, go ahead and take your DM inspiration. Thank you kindly for that.
Mhm.
Give me just a moment. Gotta get to my notes and such. All right, great. So, yeah, each of you bedded down in your own way. Laurel and Cricket were sharing a room. Yes.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I believe so. And then Lishva had his own room.
Great. Okay, that was what I thought, but I wanted to make sure because it's been a minute. Um. All right, great. So I guess first question: are there any like rituals or anything like that that you do before you go to bed? I mean rituals with like habits, not like do you summon a dark one or something. But are there any pre-rest things that any of your characters do?
Not particularly. Lishva just kind of lies down, does his small little nightly prayers, and just goes to bed.
Great.
Yeah, Laurel's rituals are all in the morning.
All right. Great. So as your night progresses and each of you lays down for your rest, those of you that do sleep, falling asleep, Lishva, you and your trance.
Yeah.
I need specifically Laurel and Cricket. I need both of you to just roll d20s for me. Just straight d20s.
Ooh.
Trust
Oh,
me,
no.
it is for reasons.
19.
Okay, I was gonna ask who rolled that because it showed
That
up
was
as
mine.
okay.
16.
Great. Okay, so Laurel, give me just a moment here. You find yourself in. Oh, I should turn up music. I forgot to do that. Although I don't have what I would prefer. I'll turn on battle music for now. That'll do her.
Oh gosh.
Oh no.
Just a little bit of battle music.
It's fine.
Just a little, as a treat. Come on, load. Do the thing. The internet is phenomenal, but it's also a pain in the rear. So, despite where you went to sleep, despite your previous activities, you currently find yourself in a long, cold, dark stone hallway. Dark gray stone is beneath your feet. Your bare feet, in fact. It is extremely cold to the touch. There are torch sconces that look as if they haven't been lit in who knows how long. And the hallway seems to stretch out from both sides about as far as you can see, with no real with no clear like deviation. Although it seems as if both ends sort of gently curve around. Sorry, lost my place for a moment. There are small windows occasionally up high on the wall, almost like like basement windows where it's just like a little bitty thing and it's like right up against the ceiling. It's kind of that scenario where you've got like little bitty windows up high, and through them you can just barely glimpse bits of the night sky. Make a perception check for me.
10.
Okay. Yeah, it's the night sky. You don't notice anything particularly untoward, but you also don't seem to notice any like nocturnal creature noises. Any sort of like owls hooting or any other kind of motion in the evening. Do you want to go left or right down this long, long hallway? Or do you have some other option? I mean, if you have another idea, I'm open to it as well.
Down the long, long hallway. No real. Does it... Okay, I'm the worst paladin, worst religious person ever, but do I feel like there's a tug in one direction or the other?
let's say roll either insight or religion, your choice, to see if like there's an innate sort of thing or if there's a spiritual pull any which way.
21 insight.
Okay. So you take a moment and sort of assess both paths. You look at the windows up above, sort of consider your position. And windows don't seem the way to go. You're not sure where you are, but trying to squeeze through that, even if you can get up there, is probably going to end poorly for you. But sort of trying to judge the safety or value of the two paths. There's not a lot giving you a clear pull either which way, but you do feel as if you are not currently in danger, for whatever that's worth. Yeah.
All right. So that being said, and under the assumption, we've never ever really discussed this. We're just making an assumption that most things in this world probably are similar to our own world if they aren't actively said otherwise, I'm guessing.
Can you be more specific what you're thinking about?
Would the sun rise in the east?
Yes.
So she'll probably make a religious turn towards the east because whichever
Great.
pathway feels like it's closer to the east is the one that she'd go down.
Okay, great. Great. So you walk off that way, and for several minutes, an hour maybe? Time's a little difficult to tell in this space, but the only thing you can hear is the sound of your own breathing and the gentle like plap, 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 plap of your bare feet against the stonework, echoing and reverberating off of the walls. But after some time, as the hallway begins to gently curve around, you do start to hear the sounds of a crackling fire. It's faint. It seems like it's maybe small or far away. And you also hear an occasional like tearing sound or the sound of something heavy landing in the stonework. But as you continue on, eventually the hallway leads to into a sort of drawing room or some sort of common space. As you enter the center of the room, there's a large rug on the floor, a layer of dust over everything in the room as well. But as you enter, you see the rug, you see a few pieces of furniture, and over on the far wall from the way you're entering, you see a small girl, at most 8 years old, sitting on the ground with her feet beneath her, and she seems to be sort of tearing up some books from a nearby bookshelf and just feeding them to the fire to keep it going. And looking at the fire, it is low. It is almost barely breathing. You get the impression there hasn't been good fuel for it in some time. But laying on the floor next to her is a small stuffed doll. And the clothes she's wearing look nice, although they look like they haven't been laundered in a long, long time. And as you enter this room, you also see a larger window that is facing east, interestingly enough. But yeah, that is what you... Okay, battle music may have been a mistake. This is the wrong vibe. Please do not do anything untoward to this small child.
I mean...
Child kind of looks like they're squaring up right now.
I mean, if you're a librarian, you might take it as a hostile action, but yeah, no, that is where things currently stand. What would you like to do?
First thing that she'll want to do is just kind of call out to the little girl. Hello, are you all right?
She just like silently shakes her head emphatically. Her hair is kind of greasy and tangled and just moves with her head as she shakes her head. Just continues feeding bits of book to the fire.
Is there anything I could do to help?
No. Just, I can't, the light can't go out. I have to keep it going. And she just is like not even looking at you, just continues feeding things to the fire.
And she specifically said, like, the light?
Mhm.
Cool. So she'll head on over and kind of like crouch down next to the girl. What sort of things are around the girl?
There's a small stack of books, maybe 3 or 4 high. You get the impression it's something that she's getting ready to start tearing apart. And then there's one in her hand that's about what you would guesstimate to be like halfway torn apart. It seems like pages are being torn out sort of by the fistful, and then she's sort of throwing the covers in whole to try to give some like larger pieces to keep the fire going.
So she'll put
the
her
book-
hand on the next book that she has not reached for yet, and she'll cast light.
Okay, great. Yeah, that says a saving throw.
I know, it's like, cool, there's a saving throw for light. That's
just
cool.
for fun, what does it look like when you cast that with your firefly or phosphorescent moss?
So as she puts her hand out, you can kind of see the holy symbol that she's kind of carrying kind of light up in its own stead, and the symbol of I always say it wrong. Is it Lathander? It's Lathander.
Lathander.
Thank you.
Lathander's
It's like,
how I've always
call,
heard it.
I always call him Lysander, and I don't know why, but the symbol of Lathander just kind of like appears on the book and starts to glow and just kind of gets larger and larger and larger.
Great. As the light settles on the book and emanates out from it in this globe of glow, she quickly like scampers back away from it a few feet and looks between it and you frantically. Did you do that?
Yes, you had said that the light can't go out. I wanted to make
Yeah.
sure you had light.
No, who are you?
Oh, I'm Laurel, and she'll bow her head. Who are you?
Oh, my name is Ellie, and she grabs her stuffed doll, and as you got closer to it, you could see a little bit better of a look at it. It's just a really simple cloth doll, facial features that are just like very simply sewn on. It seems to be wearing like a tunic and a little cape. It has a little crown. It looks like a little king. But she clutches the doll to her chest with one hand, and like on her hands and knees with her other hand like bracing on the floor, she like crawls back to the book and just sort of like pushes it with one hand. I know it sounds like I described like 6 hands there. I didn't. I mean, words are hard
She's
sometimes.
actually an octopus. But we aren't aware of that until she starts like showing.
But yeah, she scampers on her hands and knees with one hand holding the doll. And when she gets closer to the book, she like sits back on her knees so she can have her hand free again. And she just like gently nudges the book to make sure it's like safe to touch.
It's not hot. You could touch it. It's fine.
How did you do that?
Oh, it's a little bit of magic that I got.
Magic. Cool. How long is it gonna last? Is it gonna help the fire?
Oh, I mean, this is not going to actively help the fire itself, but the light by itself will last for about an hour.
An hour. That's not long though. I better keep the fire going. And she starts like tearing apart the book she was in the middle of before. She starts tearing it apart again and like feeding it to the fire.
Oh, well, I mean, for now, you can save the book for like when the light goes out, and then you can do that. I can reset. We can relight the fire. That's not a problem.
But it is though, because if the light goes out, then how am I gonna How am I gonna start a fire? I need to just keep it going, right?
No. It's okay because the light won't go out for at least an hour, or I guess about an hour. And then if you want to start the fire, then I can start the fire back up. But this way, you can hold on to the book, you can hold on to the pages, and you can keep the light going for another hour without having to feed it.
But roll a let's say this persuasion check. You're trying to comfort her, and let's see how much she trusts your judgment here.
Oh
I'm
no.
supposed
Not
to be
that
good
much.
at this. I'm supposed to be good at this.
Ah,
That's a 9.
somewhere
9.
on another continent, in another time, actually not another continent, in another time, a bard of yours kind of laughed
Yup.
sympathetically.
Yeah.
No, no, I have to keep the fire going. If the fire goes out, it'll be bad. It doesn't matter what the other light is, because I need to keep this going. There's no other light that comes here. It has to be the fire. And she just like keeps shoveling stuff in. The doll has fallen to the ground, and she let the light book go, and she's just frantically throwing things into the fire again.
Oh. She looks about. So there's no light coming in through the window?
As you sort of look at the window and try to assess things, like I said, the window faces east, and gazing out across the ocean, in fact, you do see the sun beginning to peek over the horizon. It's in that like really wee early morning hour where there's very, very little light actually coming from it, but you can tell that dawn seems like it's not far away.
Is it... So looking out, I can see there's light outside, but is it not coming inside?
Yes, that is correct. It
So
seems
the room
like
itself is still dark. It's like there's a barrier of some sort.
something like that, yeah. It seems like any light that is outside just doesn't seem to be making it through.
And she'll touch the window pane and cast light on that to see if that helps.
As you reach for the window and go to touch it, she, like, in the middle of briefly looking back towards you, she sees you reaching for the window and just screams, "No!" I'm not going to scream too loud because...
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I apologize if that was bad enough in itself to everybody involved here.
No,
But,
that one
fine.
wasn't too bad for me. It was just kind of like, okay, just appreciate it, yeah.
Yeah, no, she like screams no at the top of her lungs and reaches out toward you. Don't touch the window.
Why?
You can't go outside. If you do, it'll get you.
What'll get you?
It's I don't. It's the thing that eats the sun. It doesn't let the light in. That's why the fire. I have to keep the fire going.
The thing that eats the sun.
There's no light that gets in here, and dawn doesn't happen because there's a thing that eats the sun.
She looks out. Has the sun moved?
No.
It looks like it's considering moving, but does it feel like not enough time has passed for the sun to move, or does it feel like it's stuck perpetually in time?
Let's say... Roll me a straight wisdom check. Gotta figure out your dream logic a little bit. Let's see how much you deconstruct the dream logic. That's weird. Why'd you roll at advantage?
I didn't. I was rolling on my I was rolling on D&D Beyond instead of my
gotcha.
thing, and it like popped over here. I was like, oh yeah.
No worries.
8.
Okay. You're not sure. If it's just that time hasn't passed or if it's stuck. It's difficult to know. she seems very convinced that dawn will not come, regardless.
She'll wait a few minutes and just kind of watch the sun because, the dawn is very important for her and she definitely wants for it to come and she's kind of waiting for it to come. And as she waits for the light to start peer over the horizon, she'll sit and she'll just kind of start her morning prayers just in general. That's part of her routine.
Are her prayers out loud?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing you notice when you start praying, initially the first couple words echo like you've gotten used to off the stonework. But once you get like 3 or 4 words into your first sentence, it seems like the echo stops. Like you're maybe a little, like you're isolated vocally. And as you're going through your prayers and sort of studying the sun on the horizon, it doesn't move an inch. But gazing through the window and sort of going through your ritual, you see what looks like immense shadows stretching across the water toward the sun. Almost like tall buildings, the shadows that they cast in the evening when the sun is like low.
Yeah.
It looks like that, except it's obviously like wrong because the shadows are going towards the light rather than away from it. And as the shadows seem to stretch across the ocean, seem to stretch toward the horizon, toward the pre-dawn sunlight, your eyes snap open and you wake up back in your inn, in the room in the inn. The final words of your prayer still in your throat. Dawn just half an hour away. And that is where we will pause on you for the moment. Cricket. There's a reason for my order, I promise. Cricket.
Yes.
You find yourself on a forest path. It is in the wee hours of the evening, heading towards darkness. The shadows of the trees are long. The canopies are dim, are casting like dimness over the path. And you get the feeling that you need to keep pressing forward. So you do. You walk and walk and walk. And the shadows continue to stretch, continue to close around you as the sun goes down and the moon slowly rise. Eventually, you come to a fork in the road, a fork in the path. To the left, it is overgrown with brambles. The road itself seems rocky and uneven. The trees and bushes around it encroach on the space. The path to the right looks immaculate. It looks as if it's been traveled several times a day, every day for decades, and it's been very well maintained in that time. The ground is compacted and easy to traverse. That is where you currently find yourself. I'm sorry. Words fail me sometimes. At a fork in the road. 2 paths, one harder to walk than the other.
In this dream state, does it seem like there is a urgency or specific place that Cricket is trying to get to? Or is it just kind of like on their way to the next job type of vibe?
That's a good question. Roll a wisdom check for me. Just straight wisdom.
Teens.
13's not bad. It's pretty good even. You think for a moment, trying to weigh your options and consider, and you do have the impression that it doesn't necessarily matter. You don't have a sense of urgency per se, but you do feel like you are here for a reason, like you're looking for something. Um,
With that knowledge alone, Cricket's jumping down the bramble path.
jumping down the bramble path, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
Cricket's looking for a little sense of adventure in whatever this is.
Great, yeah, no, absolutely. Um,
Knows that they're more likely to find something shiny and cool on the path less traveled.
just for fun, roll me an acrobatics check. This is just to see how effective you are at, maneuvering around some of the things. Not that good.
10.
Um, you do take a fair number of scratches and excuse me, and marks from things. A thorn is stuck in your foot, and it is a bit of a painful path. But you maintain your sense of adventure and you walk for some time. It's a little difficult to tell to gauge how long because darkness, middle of nowhere. There's not a lot to gauge the passage of time. But eventually the brambles begin to clear and you find yourself in a clearing, maybe 40 feet across. It seems like most of the grass and other plant life has been dealt with, and it's just a rocky dirt floor in this clearing. And situated around the clearing are 5 humanoid-shaped, 10-foot tall statues. 5 of them, situated in a circle, all facing a center. And as you approach them, one has its face buried in its hands, as if it's hiding from something. Think like when you're counting for I'm motioning like you can see me, but you can't see me. Like if you're counting for hide and seek or something like that, but there doesn't seem to be any playfulness to it. It's just hiding its eyes. The second has its fist raised and its eyebrows turned inward and a sort of grit to its face. The third looks as if it's pleading. There's a deep frown on its face, and one hand seems to be holding out a coin purse. These are all made of stone, by the way. It is not a real coin purse. But it's holding out a coin purse with one hand. The fourth is, curiously enough, not standing. The fourth statue is on its knees and looks as if it is weeping. And the fifth statue in the space, it has its hands clasped over its heart, like over its chest. And there's this slight smile and look of intense relief on its face.
Heard. Interesting. I guess with that, Cricket will kind of just, hop from one statue to the next, just kind of examining it a little bit. I'm sure mimics the hand covering the eyes, almost in a sense of peekaboo with the statue. Goes to the next and mimics its pose, etc., etc.
As you remove your eyes from the peekaboo, there's an angel No, I'm kidding. Sorry, I didn't expect
had to
you
bring
to play...
up the.
I didn't expect you to play peekaboo with the statues, so when you did, I was like, I have to make a reference here. It's important.
No, you're fine. I should have recognized that a reference could have been made.
As you're sort of studying them and looking them over, most of the statues are absolutely wrecked. They're missing pieces here and there. There are vines creeping up them. There's moss growing on them. But the first, the one with its face buried in its hands, as if it's hiding from something, is mostly clean. And as you do your like round looking at the statues, and your gaze falls back to the first one, there's a middle-aged human woman. She has long red hair down past her shoulders. It's curly, but it also seems greasy and messy as well. And there are a few like sticks and bits of bramble that are stuck to it. The emerald dress that she's wearing is scratched in places and marked. There are holes all over it from various travelings around these brambles and such. And she seems to be trying to strip away bits of plant life and trying to clean up this first statue. And she doesn't seem to have noticed you yet.
I think Cricket is going to, for the time being, like, acknowledging that she's there, kind of like keeping awareness that she's there, but we'll kind of like continue down the line of just like looking at the statues, mimicking them, or in the sense of the one with the like pleading with the coin purse, we'll leave like a little coin from Cricket's own bag at the statue, and then we'll just kind of like turn back to the lady to watch her.
Just for fun, roll me a persuasion check, please.
Am I persuading? That's a nat 20.
Phenomenal. Oh my lord. Okay. Nothing immediately noticeable happens, but you feel pretty good about attempting to leave something here. As you complete your round and leave something at that statue, the woman, without looking away from the statue she's cleaning and maintaining, just, no one will come to collect that, you know. No one ever comes here.
Cricket just kind of like looks back and then looks back to her again and just, so?
I have a question for you before we continue with this.
Yeah.
If Cricket had their own voice, what would it sound like? Because here in this dream state, you don't find yourself bound by the same mimicry that you typically are in the waking world. I don't know if you've realized that it's a dream, but you find yourself untethered, able to speak as you wish. So what might Cricket say and how might they sound? And I apologize if this is completely left field for you.
A little bit, but that's exciting. Cricket is a little chaos gremlin, so I think I'm gonna go with my go-to chaos gremlin voice.
I'm excited.
So in that case, a quick little like rewind. Cricket looks at the statue, looks back at her, and just, so what? It doesn't really matter if anybody picks it up or not. It's just doing something nice.
She smiles gently and looks toward Cricket, lets her hands fall to her sides for a moment. And why? Why do something nice? If it doesn't mean anything.
I mean, I guess in the same sense, why do something mean if it doesn't mean anything? I do it because I want to.
I guess that's a good point. Why are you here, though?
Really sure? I was traveling, and as I was going down the road, I had options. I could go the place where everybody's gone, where the ground has been packed into place and everything has already been picked through, or I could go this way, where not many people have gone, where I might find something interesting, which I did, and I don't know, maybe find someone else who wanted to go in a similar route, which I did, I guess. I'm Cricket.
It's so good to meet you. My name is Leah. This is. I'm not sure what to call it, but I take care of this space as best I can. And as she says that and her gaze drifts back toward the statue that she was previously working on, both of you realize that, like both you and her rather, realize that the vines have started creeping up the statue and moss is forming on it in the same space as she was already cleaning. Darn things never seem to stay clean. I can't even get to the other ones. I have to keep doing this. I'm so sorry. And she just goes back to like snipping and scraping and attempting to clean this first statue.
Cricket is going to kind of like approach and just kind of take a closer look at like the statue, specifically looking for like a nameplate or something, like who this is maybe supposed to represent.
Sure. Roll either perception or investigation, your choice.
24.
Phenomenal. Cricket is on it. They rolled a couple of like iffy ones and then they were like, no, never again. And I respect that.
Cricket's got them peepers.
Yeah, so looking over the statues more closely, first of all, they are the detail in the face is immaculate. It is very, very well done. It has captured the likeness of a person excellently, albeit larger than a person is. You looking them over, the figures are human as well, or they appear to be, round ears and such. They have sort of shaggy hair, and the statues are all one color, of course, so you don't have a sense of color, but they have like shaggy hair that sits under a simple crown. They're wearing a simple tunic and pants. It's difficult to tell if there might have been additional like decorations that have been lost to time, but you would gather that this is a king of some kind. And all of these statues are depicting the same person. It's not like a family or a weird little cult or something. It's one guy in different like positions.
That was going to be my next question. Cricket is kind of just once again shifting their gaze to each of them and just kind of. So, if you don't mind me asking, Leah, why do you clean this one where he, is hiding his face and progressively seems to be struggling more, not cleaning off the one where he looks relieved, calm?
I need to clean all of them, but I can't get past this one. I every time I think I'm done, it's grown over again. I don't know what to do, but I'm trying. I want to clean them all.
Have you tried cleaning that one first?
No, I think I'm supposed to start with this one. I'm supposed to get through this one, but I can't do it.
Cricket just kind of contemplates for a moment and. Well, I mean, it's all one person, so it seems like it might be telling a story. And maybe the person who it's supposed to represent doesn't want this part of the story told anymore.
Make a persuasion check for me. Holy
Another
heck!
nat 20. Oh my god.
That is incredible. All right, great.
Cricket with a voice just comes through.
Yeah, no, this is what has been holding Cricket back all this time. I didn't realize the mimicry was a nerf, but here we are. Too powerful without it. All right, great. So she thinks for a moment. If I stop working on this one, which one do you think I should start with? What's the story that you think is here?
I don't think that you are wrong in which one that you started with. I think this is the start of the story. I just think that maybe the person it represents doesn't want this to be told as part of the story anymore. This chapter is ended. They're moving on.
This chapter.
I think, at least from my perspective, that the start of their story, at least this new story, is either at the one where I left the coin or the last one with the relief.
Interesting. I didn't consider it that way.
I mean, there are parts of everybody's story that we don't necessarily want out in the open.
I guess
That's just part of
true.
life.
I guess it's worth a shot. And she starts to like step around this statue that she was working on, and as she does, her dress snags on a thorn, and she has to yank it free, and a chunk of the cloth is left behind on the statue. But she, a sense of relief on her face is evident as she approaches the one with the coin, and starts attempting to remove some of the detritus around it, and begins cleaning it. And as she starts working on that, you wake up in the inn. Your eyes snap open, and you are once again in like I said, you're in the inn. Around whatever time Cricket usually naturally wakes up.
Probably about like an hour or so after Laurel.
I will say, anything that Leah said is fair game for your mimicry. What you said is not. It's a little funky like that. But I will say that you can mimic Leah if you wish. All right, Lishva. Last, because you had some pre-trance rituals, and also your trance is shorter, so it's a little wonky.
Yeah.
Sometime in the middle of the night, probably towards the early morning hours, like 2 a.m.-ish, you are sort of pulled out of your trance by a light, like tick, 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 on the window to your room.
And Lishva just kind of opens his eyes and looks over and is like, "Whoa, what is that?" Goes over the window to check.
Yeah. As you approach the window, you see a raven knocking on the window with something silver in its mouth. It just keeps tapping the window.
Well, he opens the window. Oh, well, hello there. What do you want?
It just like nods its head toward you with the ring in its beak.
Is that for me?
It nods.
He holds a hand out.
The raven drops it in your hand. And after it does that, it just like flies away almost instantly. It seems like it was just trying to drop that off. But as it takes off and you look over the ring, like I said, a silver ring. It's a simple silver band and then like a round signet on top. And the symbol on the top of the ring shows a cliffside with waves crashing against it. You suspect it is or you can assume rather, that this is a signet ring for the royal family of Tirzol. The um, family name is Solana. And as you're sort of looking at it, you tilt it a little this way and that way, and it seems to catch the moonlight for a moment, and your vision is ripped away from you very suddenly. And the next thing you know, you seem to be flying overhead over the island. Um, your sight seems to jerk a little every so often, and then as you're trying to get to grips with that, your vision switches again, and rather than seeing the island as it currently is from these ravens' eyes, you have a midday vision, a midday view of it rather. Um, you see people wrapping themselves in blankets and just shuffling through the streets slowly, attempting to continue about their business. You see a few people being moved about on like on stretchers that seem too weak to move themselves. Their skin pale and sunken. Um, as your vision is settling on these things and you're absorbing them, um, it shifts and adjusts again, and you feel your vessel land on the windowsill of the tower. And looking in, you see, had you been present for it, you'd see the original face sake. Is that a word? The
Maybe?
inspiration for the statues that Cricket saw in their dream. Human man. He has very slightly curly gray hair that's held down by the crown. And he has well-kept facial hair that runs down the sides of his face and around his chin, and then like a small sort of mustache, and rather intense-looking eyes. And he's leaning over a large like operations table with a few other people that are dressed similarly well to him, and it's difficult to make out words, but you gather that it's some sort of meeting, or it's a king with his advisors. I'm sorry, words are failing me sometimes. And one of the advisors at the table sees you there and throws something towards you, and the raven body like quickly flaps away from the window. And as it turns back toward the town, your vision shifts, and when it clears, it's late in the evening, and you're flying over what looks like an immense hole in the ground that seems to have been dug out, and your body lands on a branch as you see people bringing their deceased loved ones from this plague to this place. And this goes on for a while, and then as night falls, eventually, the king and a couple of his advisors bring a couple of bodies to the space. A human woman with red hair hanging as she's carried, and a small girl. This is weirdly heroic music. It's really screwing things up. Sorry, I got distracted again. I'm just gonna skip this for the moment. Take your time to select your music carefully, kids. As the night goes on from there, the space is quiet for some time, and fog rolls in. And as it does, it seems to settle oddly in the middle of that space. And eventually it seems to coalesce, condense into a form. What looks like a slug almost, about the size of a house cat, inches its way out of the space, pale white. Its skin, if you can call it that, doesn't seem to be reflecting the moonlight. Where its head would be, it turns toward you and sort of makes eye contact with you almost. And it looks like a nondescript, a non-specific human face. And it screams, and your vision shakes, and when it clears again, you are given the briefest image of that creature inching toward the king, slumped over, asleep in his throne. Like on his throne, just asleep. Like he just passed out from exhaustion. It inches toward him, and your vision shakes. And you're given almost a time lapse, as close as you can really surmise something like that, of bodies disappearing from the mass grave unexpectedly. And it seems like slowly the town seems to get back to business as usual, but there are no gravestones, there are no memorials, there are no memories even. And the last thing you see before your normal vision, your normal self, returns to you is that same almost slug-like creature, significantly larger. It now has a sort of quadrupedal body, about the size of a large bear. And it sits behind the king's throne. He still seems to be passed out, but his hair and his beard are significantly longer. His skin is pale and sunken with age, cracked and dry, and he seems to barely be breathing as this creature, several long necks of it seem to coil around I'm motioning again like you can see me and you can't. They're coiling around the throne, and you see several of those almost human-looking faces, except they're more human-looking now. You recognize some specific faces from earlier images. And they seem to each be whispering to the king. And you see tears running down his face as he continues to just barely sleep and barely stay alive. And then your vision returns to you in the inn. It seems like a few hours might have passed, and daylight is not far away.
Lishba will immediately look down at his hand. Does he still have the ring, or was that just a dream?
You still have the ring.
Cool. Yeah, I just kind of shakes his head and is like, "What the hell was that?"
So at this point, all of you can come back together. You can talk about your experiences, compare notes, etc. Cricket, with your if you want, you can like draw pictures or whatever. Is what I'm trying to say. Phrases or
Cool.
struggles. But you have a moment to talk, to compare notes and ideas. I would love to hear what you think.
Yeah, as they kind of just, I presume they're like heading down for breakfast over at this inn while they're doing this. Lisha will just kind of head down and say, "Oh well, good morning. I take it you slept well."
And you'd be able to tell that she's a little distracted, just kind of like staring out the window, just watching the sun.
Or perhaps not. Something happened?
I mean, best I can tell, I suppose it was an interesting dream, I guess.
A quick note, just in case it needs to be said, you did all receive your long rests. This did not impede your ability to rest.
Okay.
Appreciate it. I was walking down a hallway and I came to a room and a window, but it seemed like the sun was stuck and there was a girl in the room, desperately trying to keep the fire going, just trying to keep the light. And she said something about the sun getting eaten.
Well, that's certainly interesting.
It was a little disconcerting. I kept watching the sun, hoping it would rise, and just it didn't. It was stuck. And she kind of like wrings her hands as she continues to peer out the window, just confirming that yes, the sun is actually rising, and yes, the sun is actually moving. And it's
Yeah,
there.
it is.
It's
It is
fine.
behaving. It is behaving as expected, although there's still an ever-present mist on the island, an ever-present fog. But the sun is behaving itself correctly.
Good sun. Very, very good. You get a cookie.
I guess after being asked how sleep was and everything, Cricket is just gonna like, I guess if we're like getting breakfast, like hop up at the table, and like pull out their journal and just start like drawing the picture like of the statues and like writing down like a quick brief sketch slash like description of Leah, since I imagine Cricket probably only really travels with charcoal and doesn't really have like colored ink or colored pencils.
No, you can pull out your watercolor set. It's fine. No,
Yeah, Cricket has like an entire travel art set.
it's one of those. It's one of those like crazy art ones where it's like a little fold-out case, and you get the little tiny pastels and the little tiny markers. You know what I'm
The
talking
markers
about?
you have to put water into, otherwise they're really dry. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the kind of art set your grandma would buy you. Just be like,
Yeah.
oh, you're so good at drawing. Here.
Yeah, Cricket totally travels with one of those.
So, those drawings of the statues and everything, how accurate are they to the people that they represent? Like, would Lishba be able to recognize them at all?
Let's see a sleight of hand or performance check, your choice.
For Cricket? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hey.
21. Pretty dang good. I mean,
Staying
there's
on
obviously
top
a
of it
little.
today.
Yeah, you are. There's obviously a little bit of leeway with the medium. You know, it's not perfect. It's not photorealistic or anything, but it's very recognizable. You have a sense that it is who you expect it to be.
Hey, those people look familiar. Looks like they were part of the castle here.
Cricket just kind of shrugs and then we'll point to the sketch of Leah and just go, Leah.
I do not
Clearly-
recognize this Leah figure, but there was something weird that happened when I was in my room. There was I don't know. There was this raven that gave me this strange ring, and then all of a sudden I saw these people, the same people that are in that sketch, ironically, just kind of standing around meeting, and then there's this pit, and there were people experiencing the plague. I think that it must have been the plague that happened so long ago on this very island, and there were people sick. There was a mass grave that people were being tossed into, and there was this weird slug-like creature that
On
seemed
that
to be made of
note,
fog or whatever.
on that note,
It was
roll
weird.
me. All right, so I'm going to give you a choice of 3 things this time, but it's because they can all apply in different ways. So roll me either a history, arcana, or religion check. Your choice, and tell me which one you roll.
I have the exact same modifier for all 3 of those, so.
Oh, well then I
Almost
guess
like
it's
they're
dealer's
all
choice.
intelligence based.
Yeah, but proficiencies would throw them off. I don't know. And
I'm gonna
again,
go
they
with
might reveal
religion
different
just
info,
because
so.
that's. I'm just gonna go with the religion just because that's the one that might apply most to Lishva, even though
Please.
it's not. Yeah, that's a 12.
Don't forget, you do have deep inspiration.
Oh, yeah, I guess I might as well roll that. 17.
Even better. Yeah, so thinking back to sort of the things that you had learned about, different grave practices, different things in the Shadowfell and in various afterlives and things like that. The early like slug form of it reminds you of a creature that you had heard about, and the exact name escapes you, but it was a creature that was intended to help souls move on after they've died, by helping them forget the lives that they had, so that they can move on with a clear mind. It was a way to help them accept the afterlife that they find themselves in. You can surmise that there's something wrong with it, or maybe the exact nature of this island has somehow changed it. In any case, it is beyond its original purpose and possibly causing some of the problems that the island is dealing with.
Wait a minute, I seem to remember I seem to remember hearing about that slug thing. It was, as I recall, it was this creature that helps souls move on to the afterlife, and if their life was particularly bad or something, or there are things in life that person wanted to forget, regrets, things like that, it helps them forget them and the life they had before, so that they can more easily move on. But this one, I don't know. It just felt like there was something wrong with it.
I found the name of it that I had written down before. It is a Memetori, Memetori. And I put it in the chat as well if you need it.
Yeah. Not that Lishva would know it because, yeah.
I mean, I'll say you can know it if you want to, or you can continue to operate. But I mean,
Yeah.
the name doesn't necessarily.
Yeah.
help, but it might. I don't know.
It was.
I don't know anything. I just work here.
A meme thing. I forget the
A
exact
meme
name,
thing.
but- Yeah. A meme thing.
Amazing.
Please, sir. I can has afterlife. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I'm so sorry. As you guys are talking, eventually, Sal brings over each of you guys' requested breakfast within reason. He's not gonna like bring you out some croissants or some such, but what would each of you have eaten, just for flavor's sake?
Plate of bacon and like some toast.
Okay.
Laurel would have probably had some sort of like fruit cup with orange juice.
Oh, there you go. Just a light sort of continental breakfast.
Yeah, maybe a yogurt with that.
Of course. The little tiny like single serving Cheerios. Now, great. What would Cricket have gotten as well?
Cricket likely would have gotten some just some like toast and some fruit.
There you go. Okay. sort of middle ground. Sorry, that's not super important. I don't know, little bits of character stuff. I appreciate it. As he brings that over and just kind of looks over each of you, you guys doing all right? What's going on?
Oh, I mean, about as all right as we could be.
Yeah.
Cricket is just gonna show off their drawing.
That is something. You drew that, huh? That's incredible. I mean, it looks just like the king, too, because, wow. How did you do that? How did you know what he looked like? No one's seen him in forever. I mean, longer than I've been alive. No one's seen him in a long time. That is special.
Does anybody know what... Do you know what happened to him at all?
I don't know. I mean, there are rumors and stuff around town, but none of us really, I mean, supposedly, and I don't know how much I believe this, but supposedly it's the same king from, like, back in the plague, but that can't be possible because he'd be like 300 years old by now.
Is he not an elf or any, like, long-lived?
No. I mean, the stories say he was a human, but I mean, I don't know. It was my, like, great grandma or whatever. It was a long time ago, so I don't know, but yeah, no, he supposedly it's the same king, and he's just, like, in that castle by himself, I guess. I don't know, but no one's gone in or out of the castle in probably decades.
Cricket is gonna also point out Leah and just know her.
No, I don't. I'm sorry. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Oh, look, there's an old dwarven fellow here on the island. He lives out, like, in the middle of nowhere. I haven't really dealt with him much, but there's some rumors around town about him. He might know more. He's been around a long time, you know. Those dwarves, they live a real long time, almost like them elves. But yeah, he might have maybe some insight into the history of the island and such. Remind me real quick, did y'all pay for one night at the inn?
I think we paid for, a couple of nights.
Okay. We'll just assume that you have however much time you need, at least at the moment. It's not super important. This is season finale, but I'm curious and such. Yeah, no, go find,
No, it was one night and then we'll go from there after that.
Great, okay. So we'll assume that you pay for whatever lodgings you need and such. I'm not gonna get bogged down by coin at this point, but, just find old man Drix. I've heard he's a druid. I've heard that I've heard he does weird rituals out there. I don't know what he does. I don't get out much. I mean, I run this place, and this place don't move, so I don't really move. Anyway, go find old Drix. He might be able to tell you more about the island, more about history and such. That's about the best I got. I'm sorry.
Know where we might find him?
He's in the forest and the hills to the west of town.
I see. Well, I suppose worth a look. Says looking to the other two.
Absolutely.
Here, I've heard he really likes his cured meats, so give me a minute. And he steps away for a moment, and eventually comes back with this. It almost looks like a small log of meat that is wrapped in twine, almost in a net sort of shape, and he just holds it out for one of you to grab. It sort of has like an extra bit of string that he's holding it by. Take this to him.
Mm-hmm.
take this to him. It might help you earn his favor if you need it. You know what I mean? Here.
Yeah, Lishva will take it and just kind of look it over and say, "Well, damn, I should have ordered this for breakfast. Maybe tomorrow." And he'll just kind of sling it across his back, kind of put it into his backpack for now.
Right. Okay, cool. All right, so you guys finish up your breakfast, sort of continue comparing your notes and such, and eventually head out into the forest. Eventually, you come to what initially looks like a really like simplistic lean-to made of just like sticks and leaves and such. But as you get closer, I need all three of you to roll dexterity saving throws for me.
Oh boy.
Yeehaw.
Am I able? Actually, hold on.
Are you-
Let me check something.
If you're asking
Do
about
I
danger sense, yes,
Yeah,
you can have your advantage. You can have your advantage.
That's what I was about to. I was checking to see if I actually had that feature because I have no idea at what level I get it. But
I
yeah,
think you get that at level 2 as a barbarian.
probably. Yeah, this is like the first and only barbarian I've ever played. So that's a dexterity saving throw, and I have advantage. That's a 20.
Great.
Nice.
All right, so sorry, I took a piece of candy while you were rolling, and it took longer than I expected to eat. Anyway, as you guys are approaching the like lean-to, trying to investigate it, you hear the subtle sound of something snapping, and Cricket and Lishva sort of instinctively leap back, like as quickly and far as you can in a single move, just like leap backward to the sides. Laurel, unfortunately, is a little bit slower on the uptake, and before she has a moment to react, a net snaps around her and hoists her several feet off the ground into the air. And
Hi.
as this happens, an old man like shoves out of the lean-to. An old dwarven man has long white hair that is wild and like bushy, with like sticks and stuff sticking out of it. For a moment, you swear you see a squirrel disappear into it. He's got like leaves and stuff sewn into his clothes. Actually, point of comparison, Robin Williams after coming out of the Jumanji board game in the first Jumanji movie. That's a good point of comparison for visual effect here. But with like a bunch of white hair, like he's 100 years old. Anyway, he snaps out of the like lean-to thing. I knew I'd catch something. Oh, no, you're not a deer. What are you doing here?
No,
Who are you people?
Could you let me down? I'm not a really big fan of not knowing how to like.
No worries. And he like pulls out a slingshot and shoots the spot where the knot is on the overhead branch, and the net falls to the ground and falls open and lets you out. You do take.
Can I like try to catch her?
Yeah, give me a moment here. Okay. Roll a dexterity saving throw. No danger sense this time. This is not a trap.
That's fine. So that's just a normal 21.
Fantastic. Yeah, you do manage to catch her. I will say that you both only take 3 points of bludgeoning damage from this. I just rolled a d6 and split it, and it rolled a 6, so you both take 3 points of bludgeoning damage. As this happens, he just laughs for a second. Sorry, it's been a long time. Why are you here? What's going on?
Well, we were looking for you, actually. We were
For me?
told that you might have... Indeed, we were told you might have some, a bit of history about this town and about the plague, about the king, about...
You want to hear my stories? Fantastic! No one ever wants to hear my stories. Yes, sorry. Have you brought some sort of payment for my stories?
Yes. Yes,
Never work
actually,
for free. That's what my mama always said.
Yeah, he'll take off his backpack and take the log of cured meat out of it and hand it over to him.
Yes! Oh, I haven't had this in ages. And he just like bites into it like it's an apple. Doesn't even take off the twine or anything. Just like bites into it. Oh, phenomenal work. Just the right amount of salt. I don't know who made this, but they need a thank you. This is great. Anyway, and he like takes another big bite, chews it up real quick. Sorry, you wanted to know about the island, right?
Yes, actually,
Do you have
we're specifically
specific
curious
questions?
about. Well, he kind of looks over to Laurel and Cricket if they want to chip in, but he says, "Well, personally, I am interested about the plague that happened and whatever happened to the royal family."
Yes,
And Cricket's
that's-
just gonna hold up their drawing again and like point to Leah, like, who is this? Who, like, I know this is the king, but who is this?
I don't know who that is, but yeah. So the plague, right? It was terrible business. It took so many people from us. I can't for the life of me remember any of their names, but there was a bunch of us that ended up getting lost to that. The king ended up losing a couple of people too. I think he had a family a long time ago. Yeah.
Oh, so we lost his entire family, and now he's just all alone?
As far as I know. Although, he'd be real old by now. About as old as I am. How old am I? And he starts trying to, like, count on his fingers. 300-400 years old, I think. Yeah, that sounds right. You think?
That's a long time to have lived. You must know a lot. Yeah. What's your name?
It comes and goes.
What's your name?
Drix. Drix.
Drix.
Yeah, Drix. That's right. I think. I'm pretty sure it's Drix. It's been a long time since I've had to say it, so you know, you kind of lose things after a while. Yeah, no, that plague and yeah, the king lost. I think his wife and his daughter are the stories. Yeah, I never met any of them personally, but he was never the same after that. Eventually the sickness ran its course and just sort of dwindled, but after he lost them, he never came out of the castle again. I don't know. Everyone went about their lives as usual, but castle went a little darker each passing month, and
He's been in the castle for 400 years?
I mean, I'm roughly 400 years old. He's been there for, I guess, 250-ish? I'm not sure. Time's a little funky like that, but
Right. What? Can we see the castle with the mist and everything? Do we know where it is?
Make a perception check.
16.
Yeah, peering through the direction you know it to be, it's a little difficult to see because of the mist, because of the fog, but you do see it rising above and looming. Are you looking for anything specific, or is it just, do I see the castle?
Well, if we're kind of thinking, or at least she's thinking, that we should probably head towards the castle to try to figure this out, because it seems like that's the source of what's going on here, is this king in the castle holing himself up into everything.
Yeah, Cricket would agree with that.
Okay, so I'm really sorry. So what do you Are you asking a question, or I got a little
Well,
lost
you
for a
asked
second?
you asked the question as to why we cared, and that was
Right.
why
Okay. So you
we
were just
cared.
like making sure you know which way to go. Got it. Okay. Sorry. The brain likes to check out randomly, and it doesn't tell me when. Um. Oh, hell. Oh. He like watches you look for the castle for a moment, and just after a second, just creeps like real close to Laurel without her noticing, and just goes, "Oh, what are you looking for?"
Oh, I was just trying to figure out where the castle is.
Oh, yep. Oh, it's over that way. And he
Oh,
actually points
okay.
in the wrong direction.
Oh, yeah, it's thank you. And she'll just kind of look to Lishva and look to Cricket in regards like, is there anything else that we need here, or maybe we can like make our way that way and see if we can figure out what's going on.
You might have a hard time getting in there. Front gates have been blockaded for ever. There are catacombs, but it's gonna take a real long time to get through there because it caved in about 100 years ago. You might be here for a while.
Well, if it seems to be our only option.
So just as a quick point of like clarification on everything, because I'm noticing time and stuff.
I am also noticing time. Yes.
Was our mission just to figure out what was going on? Was our mission to fix it? What was our actual mission again?
The original intended mission, unless I have forgotten my own quest, which is possible, was to solve the problem, was to cure the curse of Tear Soul. Above game, again, in the interest of time, what I'm saying here is that it will take some time, perhaps a couple of weeks, a few weeks, to clear out the entrance to the castle, whether you go through the catacombs or whether you try to go through the front door.
Cool. So it's not
the
something that's going to be
attention-
fully resolved tonight, but just kind of give us the direction of where we're going to go
That's
next.
correct.
Cool.
And if we do have the ability to do the campaign wrap up downtime next week, I would love to reveal more of this stuff. But yeah, the intent here was to sort of, to a degree, reveal the mystery and set up a sort of time skip-ish thing between seasons.
Cool.
And if I run this game again, then I can pick it back up and we can go from there.
Makes sense. Cool.
Makes sense.
I got it.
In any case, I will say that we'll go ahead and wrap that up for tonight. Just because we've only got a minute left anyway, until we hit our usual stop time for this section of the game. As always, we usually do 15 minutes.
About 15 minutes, yeah.
We will have a 15-ish minute break in between. And when we come back, it will be the season finale of For Hire Packwitch, being run by the lovely Vice.
Thanks.
Oh, you know I'd do
Giggle,
my
giggle.
best. All right, so give me just a moment here.
Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you
Thank
in
you so
about
much.
15
We'll see you real soon.
minutes.
And we are live once again.
And
At
we
your
are
leisure,
back.
DM.
Why, thank you. Why, thank you. Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Iodrarune Fables for Hire. I am Vice. I will be the DM now. I was once Cricket, but yet here I am. As per usual, we're going to go ahead and have everybody introduce themselves. If we can go ahead and have Minerva, if you would start us off.
Yeah, so I'm Minerva, and I am going to be playing Ravi, our Shadowkai Grave Cleric, for today, for this For Hire episode.
All right, that brings us down to Ava.
Hello, I am Ava, she, her, or they, them pronouns, and I play Miranda, the human fighter.
And last but certainly not least, Tiff.
And I am Tiff. I am playing Ayana, the Air Genasi rogue.
Fantastic. Well, last time you guys had faced off against the Hollowhead Iris. Certainly understanding now why not many people have taken the job. It was certainly a battle to withhold. But you figured it out, you bested the flower, you obtained the stamen that was required in the job posting, and you have headed back, as well as trying a few of the different potions while you were looking for the flower in the first place. You guys arrive back at the town, stamen in hand, stopping by at the tavern for a quick rest. So with
Okay, so that was like totally cool and stuff, and I got a whole crap ton of plant parts. But Miranda, I never really saw what your potion did.
I didn't either. What did my potion do?
you haven't taken it
didn't.
yet.
Because you haven't
I'm
drunk it
sorry.
yet.
I think you were saying I took one last session. I'm like, I don't know what it did. I wasn't here. Sorry.
No worries.
Let me pull up the notes.
Well,
'cause
would
I
you
don't
like to
remember
find
what...
out, or?
Yes, that is the intent. I'm just trying to grab the notes, and I don't remember where they are. Please hold. Potion journal. Potions list. Beautiful. Yeah, she'll pull out the liquid gold looking one. Just swirl it, hold it up to the light. It is quite lustrous. Look at this thing.
While you are examining the bottle, you realize that your bottle is the only one that seems to come with a little, almost like a tiny little like scroll that has been pressed into the wax seal, almost as if there are directions.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Watch it be in a language I don't speak.
Sure thing. Well, I certainly hope you speak common, can read common.
You don't know me. You don't know my life.
That is true. You may not. Who knows?
No, I do.
But you look at this little like scroll that has been pressed into it, and you can read that it seems like yours has already been deciphered on how it works, but has been thrown into the batch nonetheless. It says on the scroll, coat a thief's souls with this, and you'll see their tracks for a week.
Ooh. Code of Thief's Souls, huh? She'll,
Soul spelled like soles of a shoe.
Yeah, no, I reach into
Wanted
there.
to
I totally
clarify.
hope there are other souls.
I sort of look at the
Multiple
potion
meaning
for a
words.
moment and look at the top. No, I think this one's more of a topical solution. I'll save this for later. However, let me look at the other potions again.
We've already determined what all the others do, but hey, doesn't stop us from drinking one.
Oh, whoops.
You could just drink all of them.
Let's drink them all.
Shots by LMFAO increases in the distance.
I've got my perfume on, which is fantastic. I've got my pearlescent white heart done, which is cool. So before any sort of sleeping, because we've determined that these wear off after a long rest, right?
Correct.
So before resting at all, she's definitely gonna want to go like make sure that we get all of our payments taken care of and, sweeten the deal because that was hard. And, I've got these extra things, but it was hard and we deserve extra money for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I will certainly say that it is not like middle of the night. It is right around sunset, so probably about 7:30 to 8 p.m.
Fantastic. So first we're gonna go like the potion dealer is an easy one on the way back, right?
Yeah, she's right here.
So we'll wander over to the potion maker first.
Yeah, we'll wander.
Zoo!
We're wandering. Beautiful.
Whee! And then go head inside to go find her. Knock, knock, knock.
You hear the magical chimes as you open up the door, and Clinier just kind of like you hear a solid thud, as if she were reaching underneath a counter and got surprised and hit her head on the way up, and just, oh, I'm gonna feel that one tomorrow. Oh, you're back! Fantastic. Did you find out what they do?
Oh my gosh, yes, and they're so cool. But the thing is, before we tell you, we're really hoping that we could get like an idea of what the payment was. I totally forgot. Sorry.
Yes, of course. So, I did specifically state I cannot give a monetary payment, but you can take some of the. You can either have extras of the potions that I provided to you, if you liked any of the outcomes of them, that is. Or I also have some other items that you could peruse through, see what suits your fancy.
Well, I mean, these potions are pretty cool, but I am curious, what kind of items are we looking at?
Yes, of course. Give me just one moment to find my items list, because I forgot to pull that up prior.
She has to find her ledger. Just give her a minute.
Inventory. It happened the other day. I just had to figure out where it went.
Yes, I just got a shipment in, so I decided to move everything around, and now I'm a little lost. So just give me one moment.
I'm imagining she's got like the magical equivalent of one of those handheld things that like Walmart used to use.
Oh my gosh.
I want to say they're called Telzons or something like that. Those things were such a pain to log into quickly. They worked very poorly. They were bad. I'm imagining something like that, but it's magical. So she's like, like trying to sign in.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, here it is. So, I do have a few different items. I do have some candies that do different things. I have some jawbreakers that can increase your strength. I have a thing called a dubious candy. It gives someone short-term madness, so maybe don't eat that if you don't gift it to someone that you like. You can gift it to someone that you're not a big fan of. I have.
How short
go ahead.
term is short term? I'm terribly sorry for interrupting.
It can be anywhere between about 10 minutes to an hour.
Oh, I might take one of those. I think my sister would rather enjoy one. She flashes this mischievous grin.
Well,
I think I'd
certainly,
really-
I will definitely set some aside for you there. And she like puts it up onto the table. Let's see. I have some. I have peanut butter cups of resistance. So you would take one, and then you will randomly gain a resistance to one of the many different types of injuries that you can obtain: fire, cold, force, lightning, acid, and psychic. I have rings of empathy. So those are 2 rings that you can obviously wear as a couple or just as friends. And you can convey simple feelings like happiness or sadness across any distance and plane of existence. I also have, let's see. I have Smarties of intelligence. So in makes you a little bit smarter when you eat the candies for a short amount of time.
Fascinating. I didn't mean
Those
to cut
do
you off
seem
there.
rather
Please go.
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of them are kind of cool, but I do kind of like the way that these potions. Let me tell you about these potions, anyhow, because these potions, they kind of kick butt. All right. So, this first neon orange potion, right? Check it out. First of all, it's delicious. It's sour. It's got that citrus kind of flavor to it. It's like super great. I definitely want more of these. And they just kind of made me feel powerful. Like I could see things that were going to happen before they happened, which was amazing. I definitely want like more of those.
Fantastic. And she kind of like grabs some of the others. She was like, I had, granted, I already gave 3 of them to you to try out, but I did make quite a big batch, so I do have quite a few of those. So
Fantastic.
she sets up 6 up onto the desk. So if you each wanted one, you could each have 2. Or if Ayana was the only one that wanted them, she got 6.
I know Ravi definitely wants some as well.
Want some of which one? I'm sorry.
The neon orange potion. It basically gives you 2 portents.
Oh, I would love to have a couple of these. One
So
can
each
never
take
use
2?
too much luck.
Perhaps we
Yeah.
can each take 2.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. That'd be great. Okay. And then this perfume was amazing. Okay. It made me feel like super cool and I smell amazing. I'd be like, smell me. And she like lean over to like let I forget the name of the potion
Clinier.
master. Clinier. Just kind of like sniff her neck. Like, come on, smell me. It's great.
She gives
Speaking
a
of
sniff.
smells. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. She gives a big whiff and goes,
And
that did
Ayana being the air genasi she is, like there's a little bit of a breeze that kind of like circles around. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I think it's great.
that did definitely come out sweeter than I intended, but I feel like it still balances very well.
I think
And
so.
she's like scribbling these like notes in this giant journal.
So, and like, I was just kind of wondering because, like, you said, like that neon orange one, right? You said you made quite a big batch. Is that like the whole batch, or can you make more of those? Because I would really, really like to have a few more of those. Those are great.
If you're staying in town for a little bit longer, I know that the festival, the Winter Solstice Festival, is coming around by the end of the week. So if you stay, I can definitely get some more to you.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I would definitely like to have more of those for sure. And then like the last one I tried was the cute little pearlescent heart. It's so nice. It's got like a little bite to it. It's super nice. It's great, and it made me feel like I could like, understand people a little bit better. It was great. I like it.
Ah, yes, of course. I used vodka as the base for that one.
Well, you can totally tell it's got like that bite to it.
At that point, Ravi just kind of smirks a little bit as she regularly drinks vodka. So,
But yes, so I know that. Okay, so you want extras of the orange potion.
Oh yeah, the orange is my favorite by far. It's the best. But the other ones, like I could definitely do like a couple extra of the white ones and a couple extra of, like the perfume because this perfume smells good, right?
speaking of smells, might as well describe the other ones that we tried. For example, this green one right here, this jelly-like one. This was
Oh,
definitely
yes.
interesting and definitely one I would like to have a little bit more of. It allowed me to see things better. In addition, I could even see smells when I drank it, if that even makes any sense.
Curious. How did the smells appear?
They were like swirling colors that appeared on things. Like each different color represented a different smell. I, of course, do not have a lot of experience with color, as you can see, but it was interesting nonetheless.
Oh, almost like do you remember when we were kids and every once in a while in the newspaper they would have the comics where they would put the pie on the windowsill, and you could see almost like the steam or the smell of it waft off, and someone would like, float by.
Oh my
That is a
gosh,
good comparison.
yes! I've seen that. Is that what was it like?
That is
That is indeed what it
delightfully
felt like.
quaint.
That is indeed what it appeared to be. Things rising out of whatever the source was, like steam or fog or whatever.
It really helped in finding the flower.
Fantastic.
And then there were these two, she says, pulling out the taking out the empty bottles, one of which still has like the black honey-like substance, and the other which had the dark gray pearlescent syrup. So this one, she indicates the one with the dark pearlescent syrup. This one was interesting. It helped me see better in the dark when I drank it, which was definitely useful. I can see for anything that might involve nighttime adventures.
Oh, good. That's what I had a slight suspicion that is what it would do, but I may or may not have my own means of seeing very well at nighttime, so I couldn't really test it myself. So it is fantastic to hear that that is what it did.
Well, here is the thing. I already can see in the dark rather well as well, but it helped me see even better than before.
Oh, fantastic. So I would assume that would be the increased vision in the dark, and then perhaps making things a little brighter as well.
A little bit, perhaps. And then as for this black one, that one had a bit of an unexpected effect given its appearance, but when I drank it, it was a bit strange, admittedly. I could hear various animals talking, carrying conversations in regular speech. I could understand what they were saying, and I could converse with them.
Okay, like an animal, like that beast speech thing. I know some druids can do that. Maybe some other
I have heard of
individuals
druids doing that.
Interesting. Can you still hear them? Or are all of these effects
I
still
probably
working?
can. I probably can. I still feel. I can still feel. I can still see a little bit of a wisp coming out of this bottle when, and I presume that is the smell of it.
Well,
I can
you
still
could,
see. I can still see Ayana's perfume wafting about her.
Isn't it cute? Okay, so like, do you have like a cat or anything around here? Because we could just test it by like talking to the cat.
I don't have a cat, but and she like runs back, and comes back out holding like a little bumblebee in her hand. She's like, I have a little hive of bees to help with growing plants and everything that I need for herbalism, alchemy.
Yeah, Robbie just kind of
Doctor.
listens to see if they're saying anything.
The bee seems to have noticed Ayana's perfume and just goes, that smells sweet. I
They
wonder
like your
if we have
perfume.
anything.
She says to Ayana.
Well, I mean, I don't blame them. My perfume is amazing.
Careful, they might think you are a flower.
I do kind of look like one, right? And she kind of like fluffs up her hair.
You
Indeed,
look more
a
like
big blue
cloud.
flower.
Well, yeah, but there's like the cloudy flowers out there. You got sunflowers, you have cloud flowers. Why
You
not?
look like a dandelion. That's what it is.
Yeah, I like that.
But she just kind of, Quinair sits there with the bee for a second and just like listens to you describing like what the bee is saying. And it's just, wow, it really does work. Fantastic. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put my bee back, and I'll be right back. She comes back out after putting the bee back out into the garden and just. So, I believe that just leaves us with one thing. How did you enjoy your salve, we'll call it? And she looks to Miranda. Have you used it yet?
I'm afraid I haven't found the occasion to do so, but it does seem as if the effect is already known. And she'll produce the vial and show the label on it.
She just kind of looks at it for a second and was like, yes. Ah, the effect is known. I just wanted to test to make sure if the timeline was accurate.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. No need to apologize. It seems that at least the rest of you already have plans to stay for the next week. So
I
perhaps you
will.
can test it between that.
Yes, I will find the occasion to do so, I think.
Fantastic. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get all of those potions and the perfume and everything all ready for you. And if you guys just want to wait for one moment, we'll be all set to go. And
Gosh, thanks so much. You are the best.
she puts up 6 of each of the potions and things that you have tried up onto the counter, along with some of the dubious candies. That way you can each have 2 uses.
Nice.
I'm fine with just a couple of the portent potions and a couple of the dubious candies. I don't think Miranda's
course.
too interested in the others.
Ayana will take, like, she's loving the portent potion for sure. And she also really likes the white heart and the perfume. And then she'd probably like snag some peanut butter cups of resistance as well.
Sure thing. Just make sure that you mark off which ones that you have chosen. And with that, the business at Clinia Perona's shop has come to a close. What are we all doing next?
I guess we're dropping off the flower. Is that it?
I believe
I
that's
think so.
the only job left to do.
Mm-hmm.
The goats were resolved already, so
In that case, while you are all talking about heading there next, Ayana, will you roll a perception check for me?
Yeah, give me a sec.
I believe in you.
Fine. I'm glad you do.
Hey, I mean, you do have the portents.
That does help.
Sort of. They were kind of middling, weren't they? I sort of thought it was like an 8 and a 14.
I mean, 15
9 and a
or whatever is not
15.
bad, but all right. So I'm rolling perception.
Yep.
I'll just use that 18, or sorry, use that 15, make it an 18.
All right. Then yeah, while you are all like standing outside discussing it, you catch out of the corner of your eye, Varys, the water genasi individual that you spoke to at the fishing lot, the boat docks, is nearby one of the tents, just kind of staring at you, not in an aggressive way, but in a just waiting to see if you're ready to make the move or not.
She just kind of gives Varys one of those head up nods, like I see you, or ready.
Cool. As you are all coming to a close on your conversation, Ayana, you notice as Varys kind of does a short little whistle, and there are about maybe 10 to 15 different individuals all slowly making their way to the coast and then sneaking through the water to the back of the laboratory.
Okay, so are we ready to like head out then? Let's go head out.
That sounds good.
And we've got information on the bounty of where we're supposed to go turn these in.
Yep, right at the very front of the library. Laboratory. Words are hard.
Over here.
Laboratory.
I was about to say
Laboratory.
library.
The library. And so they'll wander over there, and Ayana will just walk right up and just knock. Hey.
While they're doing that, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was about to say, while they're doing that, Ravi on the way will actually drink one of the portent potions.
Sure thing, go ahead and roll those portents.
Yep, I will roll, those are just d20s. And I have to, of course, exit out of this in order to do that.
I think Miranda will also throw one down.
And A 15 and a 6. Good. A high number and a low number.
Sometimes it be that way.
Nice. Very nice.
Nice.
All right. Fantastic. In that case, as you knock on the door, they have these large brass door knockers that just send a rattling, like, and you hear the echoing all throughout, and just silence for a moment. And you wait, potentially knock again before the doors slowly creak open. The doors being very tall, but in front of you is a relatively scrawny, a little bit small half elf in front of you. Big round glasses. Kind of has a little bit of a bowl cut going on of this like very light blonde hair. Wearing a good old fashioned lab coat with just some plain linen clothing underneath. Just kind of pushes up his glasses and is like, "Yes, can I help you?"
Hi. So, like, we did that little bounty for the stamen of the Hollowhead Iris, and we're here to, like, collect.
It was quite the endeavor.
It was. It really was. Like, so many people could have died, and other people before us did. And, you know, we did it. So, like, who do we talk to about compensation?
I mean, I did post that it was going to be 100 gold. That is quite a fair amount, in my personal opinion.
I mean, it might be like a fair amount if it was like the first time that people went out looking for it, but I've come to think that it's probably taken a while for you to get it. Is that right? It's like I feel like with all the failures, it's not something that most people were able to do.
You did also
Yeah.
misrepresent the nature of the flower.
Indeed. No, there was nothing about it that hinted at the flower being dangerous.
I can assume that you all can read.
And your point is?
Did the note say something about the flower being dangerous? Because I don't recall that.
Neither do
No.
I.
No, he's just being a general
okay.
jerk.
Okay, sorry, I was like, wait, I don't know. Yes, of course we can. Which is why we are disappointed in the lack of efficient communication.
Well, if that was the case and you took a job, you would assume that you would research said job, or at least seeing the name Hollowhead Iris and imply something, would you not?
All right. Well, here's the thing, because like we've got the stamen, but like if you don't want it, we can go take it elsewhere. That's fine. Let's go,
So-
girls.
I'm sorry, we were supposed to assume it was dangerous based strictly on the name.
Miranda, come on.
I trust. No, I would like to discuss names with this fellow a bit further. So, the bird that is called a great tit must confuse you greatly. And I suppose the death's head moth is similarly a tremendous surprise for you? She's just trying to mess with the guy.
As she's trying to mess with the guy, Ayana is getting a little frustrated because she's trying her best to kind of like get a better payment from this, and she feels like Miranda's ruining their chances. Like,
That's fair.
we're not-
Besides, what's in a name anyway? A flower that has its thorns would still have its thorns.
It doesn't matter. I mean, like, if you don't want it, that's fine. We'll take it to another herbalist. All right, let's go.
Yes. No, you make an excellent point. We will be on our way. Thank you.
Of course.
He kind of stands there for a second and watches you take a few steps away as he leans back and just goes, "Ugh, Darius." and another individual steps outside of the door and just, my apologies. My name is Darius. I am unsure why my assistant answered the door regarding someone picking up our job, but I can assume that you have successfully finished said job, yes?
Oh yeah,
That is correct.
we've totally got it. Just could we update the map area because things are not being seen very well? Um, sorry, it's like I'm
Oh.
just noticing that like we aren't on the map and that the rolls are not
I double clicked the thing to move it and it didn't move it earlier. My apologies. Thank you for
Weird.
calling that out.
It just helps to kind of see what's going on. Okay. But yeah, Ayana will just kind of like tilt her head and be like, "Yeah, so like we got it, but you know, it was a pain. There was a lot that we had to do in order to get it, and apparently like we know other people weren't able to get it. So, you know, like not only just the reward there, but like the expenses. We had to get potions in order to make sure that we were able to do this successfully, and potions aren't cheap. So we're hoping that we can get expenses actually covered here too.
Uh, Go ahead and roll deception.
Roll deception with advantage.
Hmm.
23.
23. Let me go ahead and get this roll for this individual. On his insight, which isn't fantastic, but is an 18.
I was gonna say, can
Does
I
not
just
succeed.
give him my 5?
I mean, you certainly can.
Just for the shiggles?
Of course.
Okay, he rolled a 5.
All right. He kind of just stares at you for a second, gives off a hefty sigh, pinches his brow a little bit. It's like, all right. What were the exact potions that you bought? And I will reimburse.
Absolutely fantastic. Okay. So, we got one, and she'll like list off. She's not going to list off the portents because that's going to be too sneaky. But she'll list off the other potions that they have. She won't list off the one that gives her advantage on deception either. But she'll list off the other potions that they have that they received from the other bounty.
Heard. So he's just kind of staring at you for a moment. It was like, I don't know the exact value of those potions, so say I just add on an extra 50 gold.
I mean, potions take a long time to actually make, and ones that are like really useful. I mean, like 50 gold is barely like a really simple health potion. These are like more than that, and we got more than a simple health potion.
The tremendous hazard and the tremendous unstated hazard of the job should also be considered.
Well, to be fair, we are all scientists here. We are not adventurers. We don't know the exact dangers
And
of the
that's
jobs that
totally
we put
fine, but
out.
like as scientists, I know that you get like good bits of grant money. So like yeah.
Tiff IRL knows that that's not strictly true.
That is conjecture. But final offer, 175.
She kind of clicks her tongue to the top of her mouth a little bit, like,
I'd say that is probably fine.
I mean, we're taking a little bit of a hit on it, but yeah, fine, I guess. Saves us another trip.
You are all alive and well, and not necessarily detecting any sort of previous usage of Revivify, so
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we're taking a little bit of a hit here, but I guess we'll do it. It's okay. It saves us the trip. So, she'll pull out one of the stamens and kind of hold it out, waiting for payment.
he's gonna go ahead and hold out his hand, waiting for you to place this stamen into it as the assistant is coming out with the sack of gold, and is standing specifically in front of Ayana, so what Ayana has to release the stamen to grab the gold.
Awesome. As soon as she knows that it is close enough that she can release the stamen and grab the gold, she will do that in one motion. Just drop grab.
All right. And Darius is just taking a closer look at the stamen, giving a little sniff.
Ayana is taking a closer look at the gold, making sure nothing's prestidigitated into, like, did they give us copper? No. She'll bite on it and all that fun stuff.
On that note, can I also just look around like the space that we're in and see if there's anything anything significant? Does anything leap out as interesting or out of place? Anything that looks like it shouldn't be there?
Can you go ahead and roll me a perception?
I would be delighted. Where the hell? There it is. Normal. Yeah, I'll let the 14 stick. I said 14.
All right. With a 14, you're taking a look around. You recall that one farmer at the inn who told you of the plants either being fully dead or full bloom and no in between, and you are definitely noticing that now. Whether it just be the flowers that are growing on the side of the building, the grass in certain patches, even the ivy that's growing on the building itself, seemingly from the same source. Some of the vines will be completely dead and shriveled, while others will be in full bloom. As you're kind of looking around, you see a small, well, medium-sized group of people in the back area of the laboratory, kind of looking towards y'all, giving thumbs up, and just kind of sinking down into the overgrown grass.
Can I insight check them if they're? I don't.
You would like.
Was
You
this
were
a
not
cry
here
for
last
help?
time. You were not here last time. But I'm assuming that these are the people who are infiltrating.
Yes.
So-
They are giving the thumbs
Oh.
up. They have just gotten out.
Oh, so we're like running distraction essentially. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did not know that. My apologies.
That's why I wanted to make sure that you were aware. It's like, yeah, it's fine, it's good. This is
I
part of the
didn't have
plan.
I didn't have any context, so I was like, "There's just the gardeners are being weird." What? Sorry.
You didn't have context.
Just the
Miranda
gardeners
did.
being a little sketchy. It's fine.
That's what I was like. Is this a cry for help? Are they trying to get my attention?
No,
Are they
you're good.
robbing the place? I was so confused. We're good. Okay, we're good.
Kind
Sorry.
of robbing the place, but that's kind of the point.
That's also kind of what you're doing. We're fine.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, great. I'll just like idly wander around the space until they stop me, and just see if anything else interesting happens or visually catches my eye.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
Ravi will be doing the same.
All right, Ravi, will you also go ahead and roll me a perception check?
Okay. And this one I do have advantage on because of the potion,
Beautiful.
I think. Yep, advantage on perception checks. So, let me do that.
Beautiful.
That is... Ooh, what did I roll? 24.
Wonderful. Yeah, I will say, Miranda, as you continue looking around, you're not really seeing anything else that is really, like, sticking out to you. You see some kids down at the edge of this field, just kind of, like, staring in y'all's direction. A little confused. Their body language is very much like a, weirdos. While Ravi, as you're walking around, just taking a look while Ayana is dealing with the payment and everything. You also see the group of the, I will say, Thieves Guild, for lack of better name, uh, as they are all slowly making their way across. You see some have already gotten into the water to start swimming over to this area to make their break back to the town. Uh, you can see that there are some of them that are helping other people walk, some that are bandaged up. Seems like the people that they helped out are a little worse for wear, but the important part is that they're out.
Yeah, Ravi will just nod and look around and say, "Well, we've gotten our payment. I think we are done here."
Indeed we are. Have a great rest of your day, ladies. And he grabs the stamen, turns around sharply, and slams the door behind him.
Okay, that was kind of cool. Are we gonna hang out for the festival? I think we should.
I have
I'd say
nothing
it
else
wouldn't
to do.
hurt.
No other imminent calls on my time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We got extra spending money, so we can like really have a good time.
Oh,
That
yes.
indeed we can.
I'll say as you guys all return back to the town, Varys once again approaches you all, just giving a thank you so much for creating the distraction. We got all of our friends out of the building. We are running a riot against them tomorrow evening if you would like to take part.
What's it
Uh,
pay?
What did you find?
She just kind of goes into detail of, well, so and so, and just gives a whole like list of names of all the people that they helped out. Had gone there either to speak their mind to all the scientists and asking them to leave. Others are ones who have done jobs for them in the past, and because they were doing jobs singularly, it was just one of them, they would get taken by the scientists. So when I put up that posting on the bounty board and Iona came and explained that there were others that Iona was traveling with, we figured we had a better shot waiting until the time is right, you know? But now that we have everybody out, and it's just the scientists left back in the building, I have a pretty good suspicion that we'll be able to run them out tomorrow.
Yeah, but like, what's it pay?
I mean, the offer of you joining the riot is just if you want to. There's no payment in this. This is just
Oh.
I know I personally am interested in what is going on with those plants.
But
you
like,
can
you do it without getting paid?
I mean, money isn't everything, but beyond that, I'm dreadfully curious for the experience of it.
I mean, curiosity is one of those things that tends to be kind of dangerous. And, you know, I kind of prefer to be alive to spend my money.
I suppose, but on the other side, even inaction is still a choice.
It absolutely is. But, you know, like, there's the festival. And, you know, I mean, it's not saying I wouldn't help because, like, I totally would consider it for, you know, the right price. But 0 is not that price.
Here's the thing, though. There's likely something unique in there that could be sold elsewhere for a profit.
That gets her attention a little bit as you kind
You
of
could
see
even-
her eyes light up a little bit.
You could even take back the flower pots we just sold and sell those again elsewhere.
That could be interesting. I just have to like go find some of the cool things in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And
they
you'd have
do-
the time. They'd be very distracted.
And like you said that they have like lots of different projects. They probably have lots of cool things in there.
Rare
I
and
mean-
specific instruments, various ingredients.
I mean, we didn't stay around long enough to figure out everything, but once some of our comrades recover, you can likely ask them since they were inside the facility.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll go help them. I'll go talk to them a little bit. I'll see what they know. But being able to pick up some cool new things, I could use some new boots. I do like. Okay, yeah, cool. Let's see what we can find.
That
All
does
right,
sound
and
like
I'm
a
gonna
plan.
I'm gonna do a little bit of some time jumpy things, just to help close us out here. Um, but I'll go ahead and say, Ayana, you talk with the rescued individuals from the science labs. They tell you of all the different forms of experimentation that they had experienced. There is a small halfling woman whose eyes were experimented on that had since given her dark vision, but she can no longer see in bright light. Um, Another individual had experienced being given gills, but now has to figure out how to essentially pump water through their system, as they are no longer a person of the land. Um, another Genasi individual, has been shifted from a water Genasi to a fire Genasi, and is now trying to understand what that means and how to live with that. Uh, Overall, it was just a lot of different forms of experimentation to either change or adapt themselves to a different environment.
Did she would have definitely pressed further as to like, okay, so like when they changed you, did they have any like really cool tools or really cool other things? She's definitely looking for the material aspect that she could go in, find, and sell.
Perhaps potions.
So, as for their tools, out of the answers that you got, there were not many tools that were recommended, or potions specifically, but there were some items that were being tested in another room by other scientists. So they weren't being tested on villagers. There is mention of boots of flying, um, one of those constricting carpets, constricting rugs.
Cool.
Uh,
Little things like that will definitely get her interest, and now she just kind of nods. Okay, I'm going with you guys. It'll be cool.
all right.
See, I knew you'd find something in it for you.
I'm just interested in watching the destruction unfold.
Yeah. With that, we'll go ahead and skip over to the next day. Uh, Varys is kind of getting everybody together, getting everybody with their torches and pitchforks, literally and figuratively. Um, Sees all of you approach and is just like, oh, here you can help with this, help with this. We'll be heading over there in an hour. So if there's anything that you want to do to prepare within the hour, you're more than welcome.
Can I just try to like assess the battle abilities of the people and like help guide that at all?
Yeah. Go ahead. I guess roll an insight for me.
Sure. Where is the button? Normal. I'm gonna use my 19 on that. That was a total of 20. And my portents are
Alrighty.
Yeah,
gone.
I was about to say, wouldn't those have gone away anyway when we transitioned to the next day?
All right. Heck.
I mean,
rolled a
you could drink
3.
another one and get different portents, but
No, I'll save that for now. If there's a battle.
Well, the question there is like whether or not it's going to go at the long rest, or whether or not the DM is going to be like, yeah, I'll give you 24 hours.
I'll let you have 24 hours just because there wasn't much place to use it the
Yeah.
previous day.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. You're a very benevolent DM. Then yeah, I will use the 19 for a total of 20.
Of course. You are looking throughout the crowd, and you see that the people closest to Varys, the water genasi individual, all seem to have at least some experience fighting. They may not be the most what's the word I'm looking for? Most obedient fighters, most disciplined, that's the word I was looking for. But they do seem to be they can stand up for themselves. Uh, as you are looking down, you see some of the farmers who are a little bit somewhat adept, and then some that are definitely not and could use some assistance.
Are they using like, shovels and pitchforks and stuff? Are they attempting to use actual weapons?
It seems that most of the farmers are using more so like pitchforks and like um, different forms of farming equipment.
Great. So yeah, she'll spend some time helping manage those and just like guiding, make sure you're keeping as much of your distance as you can. It's a pitchfork, You can poke from one direction. Make sure you make the most of it. And trying to like help guide them with those tools a little bit. Um just spend a bunch of time helping with that as much as she can.
Of course. Anything that Ravi or Ayana are doing?
I mean, just kind of waiting for this ride to begin. I don't think there's anything she can really do with respect to the other farmers and stuff.
All right.
Watching Miranda helping the farmers, every so often, her invisible mage hand will go around and just like tip the pitchforks way up and make the villagers go way off like way off target with whatever they're trying to do.
Do I notice?
It's invisible, so probably not, but you'd notice that they're really off target.
Noted.
Then I would say with that, the time passes and the riot begins. Uh, Everybody starts running towards the laboratory. Uh, People are surrounding it and screaming, yelling. They manage to pry the door open as they rush in and quite literally chase the scientists off. They are gone. Some of them use teleportation magic to leave. Um, some of them just literally run out of the back door and hop in a boat and start rowing away. But it is a very victorious moment of all of the townspeople coming together, and the laboratory is now empty, ready for the looting.
Loot
Yep,
the laboratory!
Robbie's definitely going to take a look around and see what kind of interesting stuff there is in the place.
Yeah, like I said, you definitely find the items that they were testing out. So the boots of flying, the rug of constricting. You find a few others, a few weapons as well. Um, you find a staff that you don't quite know what it does, but you do get a large sense of magical energy coming from it.
Cool.
Magical like wizard staff or magical like monk staff?
Wizard stuff.
Okay.
Along with that, you also find um, almost like a a room of different types of like prosthetics. So you
Ooh.
find legs and arms, or even just like little like fingers that have been made very obviously with artifice, but have different aspects to them as well. Um, Arms hiding secret weapons, legs having springs added to increase movement speed. You find some. You find a sword. Uh, Seems to be once again a little bit magical, but like it would best suit a bard. has
Ooh,
a
fancy.
sense of when swept through the air, creating different tones of music.
Very cool. Um,
Ayana will first go snag those boots because they look like they were made for her and they fit her divinely.
They do
there's
indeed.
there's an item
Perfect.
that I would love for Miranda to find. I don't know if it's
Hmm.
possible for it to be on your list, but are you familiar with something called a veteran's cane?
I am.
I would love it if she could find something like that. It'd be really cool to have the cane that turns into a sword.
Of
I guess it'd be more
course,
of a
yeah. You most
walking stick, but yeah.
of course, you most definitely find one. Um, it has this exterior of being this really beautiful, almost like mahogany style wood, um, with the handle of it being this super shiny silver. Has almost a blue tint to it as if it were adamantine.
Look at it.
Uh,
It's practically made for me. She holds up the mahogany like to the red coat and sort of matches the color and is like proud of
I
the
don't remember what
stick.
are. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. You're gonna finish your thought.
No, I had finished. I just realized that like my
Yeah.
last word was at the same time as you.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of all the other items that are there. Nothing really jumps out as being what actually were the other items because I'm not really seeing anything that looks interesting to Ravi.
what would be interesting to Robbie?
Well, something that some sort of increased some sort of like if there are any shields that might have some interesting effects, so she might want something like that. If there's let's see what else would be cool for her. Anything that would enhance and that would enhance any sort of perception would be good. Um,
what's it called? The Sentinel Shield? That's
a sentinel shield might be good.
I'm trying to remember exactly what it
Yeah,
does. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, it gives you advantage on perception checks and while you're holding the shield, and also I think it's also advantage on initiative if I remember correctly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that'd
there
be
are
cool.
a few different types of things, in the sense of more like defensive items. Um, so we will say that there is definitely a sentinel shield in there. There is also an absorbing shield,
Hmm.
that allows the handler of the shield to be able to cast absorb elements at will,
Hmm.
as a reaction. Um, and then there is also a ring of spell storing.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I was
That's
also going to
magic.
suggest Ravi's a cleric, right?
Yeah.
A really awesome cleric unique item is an amulet. Well, I think it's good for paladins too. But
Amulet of the Devout.
yes, amulet of the devout
Yeah, that
gives
would
you
be
an
a good one.
extra. It gives an extra use of your channel divinity and
Mm-hmm,
gives a
mm-hmm.
bonus to your spell attacks and save DCs.
Yep. Yeah,
It's
that would be help. That would be even more helpful actually.
my artificer
Yeah.
is trying to make one for the party cleric in another game
Hmm.
because it's a fancy item.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna go ahead and just keep it pretty easy. Of whatever it is that you are looking for, it is likely that they will have it.
Beautiful.
If it is something that is considered very rare or more, I'll have you roll a d20. Uh, and we'll say on an even, it's there. On an odd, it is not.
Yeah, I mean the amulet of the devout. There are like different levels of it. Like I think a +1 is uncommon, a +2 is rare. I'm fine with a +1, honestly.
All right. Then yeah, I'll say that you definitely are finding exactly what it is that you were looking for. Um, Everybody else is starting to celebrate the fact that they have succeeded in running out the scientists, and everybody is heading back to the town square, ready to throw a small celebration, almost as a pregame to the celebration tomorrow night of the festival.
Well, I must
Awesome.
admit this was a very fruitful endeavor. I definitely feel like this amulet, I'm not sure what it was doing in this lab. It seems like something that I might have lost at some point.
It was probably something taken off of one of the villagers.
Hmm.
It
But
seems
just don't think too hard about that.
it seems like
Perhaps.
they had the It seems like they had their fingers in many pies, as it were.
Ayana would have also wanted to go back and picked up the stamen and all the other ingredients to
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
I
I know, right?
assumed. I very much assumed that is
Yeah.
what she was feeling.
Yeah, Robbie would also be looking for like notes on how on how their plant experiments went, like why there are some that are fully in bloom, why there are some that are not, and all that other stuff.
Yeah, you can definitely find a journal that is listed and signed by Darius. He seems to have been the lead scientist there. Um, you find a lot of notes talking about experimenting with chronergy magic, of uh, experimenting with not only different types of magic, but also different types of, like, if you were to cast a spell, but changing the material component to see how that would affect it. Um, you're getting the idea that the reason why so many of the villagers' physical aspects were affected was because of changing the components of a polymorph spell.
Fancy.
Robbie just kind of slams the journal shut and just says, "Time magic. Manipulating time is a dangerous prospect." But it seems that what was used to keep some of the flowers fully bloomed.
Curious. I don't
If you
know
mess
much
with
about
time-
magic, but that is interesting.
Time and death, two things that are not to be messed with.
Indeed.
And they so happen to go hand in hand.
Yeah, so while you guys are kind of bumming out over here, let's go like sell this stuff.
Of course.
Yeah. And I'll go ahead and say, as we are coming to a close on the session, the Star Dance Festival begins. It is now the night of the winter solstice. There are bonfires and people dancing and drinking, and people are trading things as the water is being lit up with this bioluminescent algae gently splashing up onto the shore.
That looks
Awesome.
pretty.
Oh, it does indeed look like stars are reflecting in the lake. As somebody who is not used to seeing stars all that often, I must say it is quite interesting.
That
I like
alone is worth the price of admission, so to speak. Gorgeous.
Wait, we didn't have to pay anything for this, right?
No.
Okay, just checking.
It's a turn of phrase. But I am delighted that I came.
I'd say it was definitely worth it. Worth the detour.
As you are all staring out onto the lake, Varys approaches with cups in hand of various types of alcohol, handing them out to you. The farmer that Miranda spoke with in the beginning, Abigail Ludus, Clinier Perona, are all approaching, saying their thanks to you all, and giving a good old toast as the night goes on.
Robbie, of course, insisting on the vodka.
Oh, of course. Clinier already has a flask at hand. And that brings us to the end of For Hire, the Packwitch edition.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for running that.
Yeah, thank you so much for
fun.
playing along.
And thanks everybody who's watching this.
Yes.
This is the end of our season, but we will be picking up a new season. Typically, we take a month off to just kind of do downtime stuff and recalibrate and figure out what we want to do. But our plan is to pick back up in September, and we hope to see you then. And we might have some downtime sessions in between. Feel free to check us out at those too.
We do have soft plans to do a downtime session next Monday at our usual Monday stream time.
Live
just
at
so
5.
we can, yes, to do a sort of season wrap up. I don't know that we will see every face that we had. Unfortunately, Dust is rather busy, I'm sure, and the time zone does not help. But whoever is here will be able to sort of talk about the respective games, ask questions of each other, reveal things that maybe we didn't get to reveal in the game, etc. So if we get to do that, we'll see you there. Otherwise, we'll see you in September.
Bye-bye.
Bye.